Thank you everyone for joining in. So this is part of the 30 days of activism that I Lead Climate have started. And so this is the last week of the final episode. And today I have an incredible guest that have done so many things when it comes to climate action, adaptation, support for women and girls from Global South. And she's Esmeralda. She have done several things. I met her at COP26 in the UK, and it was really great connecting with her. So she's going to briefly tell us what she do and briefly just introduce herself to us for us to know, because we cannot solve the climate change crisis without women and girls, because we have been disadvantaged in several ways. We are facing the brunt of the climate change crisis, and yet our voice are not heard and left behind. So we have to speak up for ourselves. We have to support each other for us to see that we get to that point where we are part of the society and not we negotiating for our rights in our society. So briefly, Mr. Merida is going to tell us about herself, what you do, and then we start the question from there. Thank you so much for coming. Up to you.
Thank you so much, Adenike. Well, I have been working in environment and in climate action for many years. And as you said, I noticed that women are really disadvantaged, not only because they suffer from the climate extreme event, and we know that because they are mostly among the poorest people, they suffer the most, also because they are in charge of course, water and food collection. So we know all that, but what we don't appreciate enough is that women and girls have so many solutions on the ground. And I have seen that. You mentioned Bangladesh. I have seen that also in many countries of Africa, your country, obviously, also in DRC, in many other places. Women and girls are always at the forefront of initiatives because I think they have the expertise on the ground. They know exactly what has to change, what we have to do to conserve nature and natural resources, but they are never listened to because they don't have the same access to education, to technological studies, to land rights also, which is so important. So what I have been trying to do is support as many communities as I can, help raising their voices, mentoring them sometimes to give them some special advice, and make advocacy for to have women at all levels of decision making. We need women in government, we need women in local communities, we need women everywhere. How is it possible that we know all that and still in all the important climate negotiation, we don't have enough women at the table? How is that possible in 2021? So we have to make that connection, that network, as many women as possible from the north, from the south, together, because we need that diversity of voices. We need the indigenous women, we need the local women, we need women everywhere. And that's what I have been trying to do for the last years. There's still a lot of work to do, but it's changing slowly, thanks to you, your activism, thanks to the young people everywhere. And I'm hoping that we will find solution and more participation.
Thank you so much for what you do. I think every action matters when it comes to solving the defining issue of our time. And so women also matters when it comes to all of these issues. So solving problems in our society should not neglect women away from those realities, because we face the realities, we have the solution, we have the innovation, we have the indigenous knowledge. So everyone should be part of the movement in solving the solution in the society. And one other thing I want to also ask about what you do, you run an NGO, and can you just quickly tell us about what it's all about? Because I've seen great work they are doing when it comes to article, when it comes to write-up and the rest. Like, what are you doing in all of those aspects to see that you are championing women's voice? And how do we make the male folks to be part of this movement in bringing women as decision making? Because at a certain point, I guess some people just think women being on the table is a threat to the male folks or something. I just think, how do we resolve those issues around, to rally around, to see that we get support beyond just the female? So please, did you understand my question?
Yes.
Okay, please.
I think you mean that we have to rally as many people as possible.
Yes,
and
beyond just the female, looking at the way at which men too shouldn't see gender equality as a threat towards them, to a certain extent. I believe our society or gender equality should not go against anyone's religion, cultural or traditional belief, so how do we rally around that aspect of gender equality across all sectors without the male or anybody seeing it as a threat to his religion or to his society or to the rest?
Yes, I think what is important to know is that obviously women are 50% of the population. So we need that 50-50 vision. We need the men, we need the women. And it's a bit like someone said one day, you don't put a patch. I think we need really 50-50%, because women are 50% of the population. So we need that 50-50 vision. Someone said, you're not going to put a patch on one eye, then you won't see properly. And that's exactly what it means. We need the vision of the man and the vision of the women. And it's completely, they complement each other. So it's easy to explain to men that it's beneficial for society, that 50-50 vision. And we need to get as many men as possible to support women getting to decision making, because it's good for society.
Okay, so thank you so much. Just as you've mentioned, or as you've highlighted, that gender equality should not be a threat to anyone, neither belief or custom or anything. We should see it as a way of trying to bring solutions on board, or trying to solve different global issues, to see that it is intersectional enough, it is in the same proportion of contributing ideas. And I also want to ask question on the NGO you have. You also said you have, you also write a lot. So how do you use that means to bring about gender equality, or to bring more women on board in such aspects? Maybe you have to do with funding, or different means at which your organizations are trying to carry out climate action in a gender sensitive way.
Yeah, I think we have to use everything. We have to use articles, we have to use film, we have to use stories, because storytelling is a very, very powerful way to attract people, to get more people around that question, to understand that it's beneficial for everybody, for humans, for planet. We need to have everybody on board.
Okay, very well. Thank you so very much. And I also want to ask that, what do you think we need to address when it comes to gender equality, women's taking part in different aspects? Because we have seen that due to time constraint, it affects women's ability to contribute towards ecosystem restoration and the rest. So what do you think we are doing that we should do differently, that we aren't doing yet in solving those problems or those issues?
I think we need to give women the resources, the education, the tools to be able to access all those places, whether it is in the workforce or in government or in the justice system, because it's everywhere that we need women, as we said. And concerning climate, yes, that they should be really represented in equal proportion as men. I am also on board an association which is called She changes climate, which is exactly towards this goal, to have as many women from the South, global South and the North at every level of decision making.
Very well. That is true. I really understand. I really love your perspective on that, providing resources for them, educating them, giving them access to land and the rest for them to be able to contribute equally and as well have economic gain that they need to stabilize themselves and their family. And also, what do you think, what could be your concluding perspective on this issue when it relates to climate action for all without leaving anyone behind?
I didn't hear your question. It was...
Sorry, hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so what is your conclusion in this interview when it comes to climate action for all, not leaving anyone behind? Because we know that achieving gender equality is key towards climate justice, hunger, and the rest. So what is your perspective there? After then we could wrap up this interview.
I think it's really important that we remember that the climate crisis is also a climate, a justice crisis, a racial crisis, a gender crisis. Everything is linked. So we cannot address climate just like things separate. We have to resolve the problem of inequality, gender equality, racial inequality. And it's only like that that we will build a just society and also resolve all the problems we have now.
Sure, that is true. That is true. So thank you so much for this perspective of yours and what you do to see that you champion women's voice around the globe. And that is what we want, that if everyone could contribute as little as possible, it could help to achieve gender equality and make it something of the past, because we want to see a society where women and girls have a secured right for them to be able to exercise their rights and not negotiating for their rights at all times, or trying to fight for their rights at all times. So thank you so much for this perspective of yours. And I know that my audience is going to find it very enriching to interact with you after now. And thank you so much for all your work that you're doing. And thank you for keeping to championing young voices from global South and around the globe.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much.